And with us again is Second District of New York congressional candidate Edwin Osorio. How are you today, Edwin?
Good morning, top of the morning to you. You know, I was envisioning you announcing me as the as a congressman. That I guess that might be a good omen.
Let's hope.
Yes.
So let's jump right in, Edwin. One of the hottest topics today, whether it's government or labor, is artificial intelligence, AI.
Yeah. Yeah.
AI is transforming the workplace faster than most people expected. How
Sure.
do you balance technological progress with the need to protect American workers from displacement?
Yeah. Well, first you have to recognize the fact that when it comes to AI, because I know there are a lot of people that are opposed to AI, and of course, clearly, there are a lot of people that love AI because first and foremost, AI is driving the stock markets. I believe they say that 80% of the trades going on are AI related, and a lot of the wealth, and it's just amazing. So the genie's out of the bottle, whether you like it or not. So trying to put it back in is not an option, but it's not too late to be smart about things. And AI has to be used for enhancement. There are great things that can be done with AI. I mean, disease can be cured, and the work of 20 people can be done with AI. However, if not done smartly, AI will simply replace people, and you can't have that. Now, in my trickle up economy, it's contingent on having consumption, and the consumers are going to be the workers, and the workers can only consume if they're paid a fair wage. Now, if we're going to use AI to replace workers, that's a short term problem because you're going to have businesses that are going to save a lot of money, and a lot of money is going to show up in their ledgers on the positive side because they're not paying out. But at some point in time, who's going to be doing the consumption? Who's going to be doing the consuming if AI is taking all the jobs? The last time I checked, AI has never got into a restaurant and ordered a meal. AI has never checked into a hotel.
Very true.
AI has never got into an appliance shop and ordered a refrigerator. It's not going to happen. So what those short-term gains will be long-term losses. So we first and foremost we have to recognize the distinction between utilizing AI to enhance labor and then using AI to replace labor. And we have to address it. So what I'm suggesting is we do it smartly. So we're not telling obviously you can't tell companies, you can't tell corporations you can't use AI. But what you can do is go to corporations, go to companies who do use AI. You're saving a lot of money. We're going to require you to take some of that money and invest it in the retraining of employees, of the repurposing of positions and college degrees, and the creation of apprenticeships. I mean, if you are directly responsible for losing 100 jobs, I think you should be responsible for either creating 100 jobs or retraining employees to go to 100 more jobs. Very important.
I couldn't agree more. Um, so artificial intelligence doesn't just use data; it uses enormous amounts of energy. How do we make sure that the rise of AI doesn't lead to higher costs for working families or a retreat from renewable energy?
Yeah, that's something that a lot of people it doesn't even occur to them because if you're using AI, you're seeing it at the back end where perhaps you're asking it a question, you're having it. I use AI for cooking. It's a wonderful tool. I'm not too good at math, so even if I have a recipe that calls for a pound of ground beef, but now I want to feed my family, so I'm using and I have a big package of almost 4 pounds of meat. I can put it in and it'll give me the exact measurements. It's a wonderful thing, but I don't see the consumption of power. AI, by some reports, uses the power. that's comparable to a small city. Now, if AI is using all this energy and it's deriving this energy from fossil fuels, well, it's going to compete with homeowners who are using fuel to heat their homes, to electrify their homes, and that's only going to drive the cost up. So, if we're and parallel to that, if we're downsizing our investment in renewable fuels, well, that's a recipe for disaster. I mean, the last thing I would want to see is a family who has to decide on whether or not to put food on the table or heat their home because the energy costs are so exorbitant. Now, here in Congressional District number 2, we have wind turbines offshore of Long Island that, if done the right way, can create thousands of union jobs, create renewable energies, and we have examples in the United Kingdom and elsewhere in the world. We have examples where it's done well, it's done properly, it's created jobs, it's been prolific in energy, but hasn't hurt the sea line, hasn't hurt any of the land. So this is something that we have to consider, and we have to do it.
Now, we've had conversations offline in regards to AI, and you've compared America's approach to AI to a student in college who never declares a major. Can you
Yeah.
explain that metaphor and what it says about our lack of direction?
But yeah, it came to me sort of when I was working on one of my platform pieces, and it just dawned on me. And I guess part of it came because my son, who he studied coding computers and computer science as a major, and he did his four-year degree, and he's having a tough time getting a job because apparently AI has taken a lot of entry level jobs. And my understanding is that even though as a nation the unemployment rates are relatively low, they're significantly higher for college graduates because a lot of entry level jobs are being replaced by AI. So, and that's what made me think about a college and thinking about how can you imagine just going through 4 years of college and accumulating, I don't know, 120, 140 credits, but without a declared major. In other words, you put in your 4 or 5 years of school and then you're not prepared to do anything with it. That's almost where we are now. We can think of ourselves as perhaps in the second year of college, where we haven't declared a major yet, but it's still not too late. We have to decide the direction we're going to go. We have to decide what the parameters are going to be in using AI. We have to figure out what our expectations are and then implement regulations around AI because we cannot wait until it's too late. Because if we do that, it may take generations to recover.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, there are those that fear that decisions about AI are being made by corporations and technocrats, not by elected leaders.
Yeah.
What role should Congress play in shaping AI's future?
Oh, I think Congress should play the biggest role, and I'd be advocating to be the leader in the event that I did um, win a seat in the House of Representatives. Um, for far too long, Congress and the law has always worked late, and what I mean by that is they wait for a problem to manifest itself. They wait for harm to be created, and usually harm is created towards the public, and then they legislate in order to reverse something. But as I stated earlier, if we don't get ahead of AI, the damage could be irreparable, and at the very least, generational. And it really wouldn't be fair, especially when you look at the composition of Congress, where the vast majority of people are 60, 70, even 80 years old. So you can argue that them acting too cautiously or slowly or lacking foresight doesn't impact them the way it's going to impact our children and our children's children. But we have to get ahead of it. And only Congress can regulate and really keep corporations in check. I mean, we haven't discussed this, and perhaps it isn't relevant for this conversation, but AI can do a lot of harm. You know, just the other day I was watching a video and I had no idea that the person in the video did not exist. And of course, we've all seen these videos of, Joe Biden or Nancy Pelosi falling down in a drunken stupor.
Mhm.
Never happened. But the
Right.
thing is, technology is only going to get better. And even if some people don't get fooled by these things, a lot of us do. But eventually, the technology is going to be so good that it's going to be indistinguishable. And we have to have that foresight to plan before we get to that point of no return. And only Congress can do it. No other entity can do it. No entity is going to curb their own self-interest. Congress has to be the better minds. They have to be virtuous. They have to be the city upon the hill, and they have to lead by example. So what I mean by that is not only you regulate AI, but implement it within the federal government. So, for example, federal governments, they're the largest employer in the country. So they should be the first people to establish that they will not be using AI to replace workers. They will only use it to enhance. If they're the model, if they're our exemplar, and then you have regulations, corporations will follow suit. That's my hope, anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, there's a lot we can discuss in terms of AI. Is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't, or that you would have liked me to ask you that I didn't?
Well, I would say ultimately AI can be used for a lot of good. So we shouldn't be thinking of AI as some sort of a pejorative to stay away from. But it's a powerful tool, and left in the wrong hands or left unchecked, it could be the same thing. It could be akin to giving a toddler a loaded gun and hoping for the best. And it's a recipe for disaster. And I just hope that, number one, that the constituents of District Number 2 in New York, that they vote me in, and number two, I have an opportunity to put forth legislation that will address all the issues that we discussed. And Todd, I have to tell you, in the event that you stop working for Social Security, I think you have another job that you're perfectly suited for, because you do a great job as a host, and I thank you.
I appreciate that, Edwin. I thank you so much. And should that come to fruition, we will definitely have that conversation then. In the meantime, I want to thank you again for your time. And once again, wish you the best of luck on your run for Congressional District, New York.
Thank you, and goodbye to everyone.